Okay. Good morning, everyone. We'll start our discussion with PWM. Basically, PWM stands for pulse width modulation. Uh, the reason why we are going for pulse width modulation is if I just look at Arduino board, if you see here, I have pins for analog input values. That means I can give some value which are analog. When I consider digital pins, they are both input and output pins. But I don't have any pin which can give analog output from my microcontroller. Or I can say like I don't have any pins from which I can give analog output from this particular Arduino board. That's the reason we want some mechanism wherein I can control analog circuits by using this Arduino. Okay. So pulse width modulation is a powerful technique for controlling analog circuits with microprocessor digital output. So we are getting output from digital pins of microcontroller and we are able to control analog circuits. For example, if I consider fan, and if I consider a bulb. The difference is for bulb I need only two states. One is either it will be in off state or it will be in on state. But if I consider the same thing with fan, I cannot just say like I will be in off state, on state, but I will say like in different speeds. Fan will be at different speeds. Like when we consider regulator, you are going to control the speed of fan, right? Maybe with respect to stage 1, step 2, 3, 4. Okay, mostly you will find 5 different speeds with respect to fan. Even for example, if I have a cooler, you are going to have slow speed, medium, fast. Okay, similarly, if I consider a DC motor or if I consider a normal car, always I won't be going with same speed, right? I'll have variable speed for my vehicle also. So in such case, how I can control that particular analog circuit by using Arduino? That is the question. So for that purpose, we are using the concept of pulse width modulation. So all all the members are from electronics background, communication background. So I hope you know what is pulse width modulation. Like you are going to change the width of a particular pulse. Okay, in pulse width modulation, we will also see the corresponding diagram in the next slide. So when I consider this particular PWM, we have varieties of applications. Like you can control a servo control. Servo motors will be there to control that particular thing. I can use this one, or maybe if I want to go with telecommunication, like you want to do modulation with respect to pulse width modulation, then also I can go with this voltage regulation. If I want to do, like if I want to control how much amount of voltage I am giving for an LED, then also I can use this pulse width modulation. Okay, so see here, in pulse width modulation, with respect to how much amount of value you are giving, the duty cycle of that particular pulse will change. When I say duty cycle, it's like the amount of time you are in on state, okay, that is T on divided by T on plus T off. That's what we do consider as the duty cycle. The amount of time for which you are on divided by on plus off, or also I can also consider this one as uh, total time period. Okay, if I consider this particular case, first one, I don't have any on time here. So on time will be 0, half on time 0 plus half time is 100% I can consider. Or if I consider the time period here is 5 milliseconds or 10 milliseconds, I can consider 5 milliseconds, something like that. In that case, my duty cycle will be 0. If I consider, for example, if this is 100 milliseconds, out of which for 25 milliseconds I was on, or the particular waveform was on, and for the remaining case 75% the particular thing is off. In such case, I can consider this is 25 by 25 plus 75, that is 25% duty cycle. Okay. Similarly, if I consider this thing, 50% of the time you are on, 50% of the time you are off. Okay, 75%, 100%. But there is something more here. analog rate of 0, analog rate of 64, analog rate of 127, analog rate of 191, okay, analog rate of 255. Or rather than just uh, considering what I have written analog or digital, you try to look at this particular value. So how I am going to get uh, whether it is 0 or 64 or 127 or 255 is, let's just try calculating that. So total 100, 100% if I consider, okay, I'll have some value. If I consider 0%, I'm going to have some value. Basically I can say like if this particular PWM is generating 8-bit value, okay, for an 8-bit you are going to have from 0 to 255 values. For a binary number, if I consider it has 8 bits, or if I am representing that one with 8 bits, then you are going to have 0 to 255. So for 100% I need to say 255. For 0% I can represent with 0. By using that one, if I try considering like for 100, the value is equals to 255. What about 50%? Okay, so 50% equals to x. I can consider. To calculate this, what I will do, x equals to 255 multiplied with 50 divided by 100. Okay, in such case this one will be approximately equals to 127. Okay, you are going to get 127.5, but we are not considering that floating points, right? As I said, digital means you are going to consider integers, so approximately I can consider 127, or there is no problem even if you consider 128 also. Okay, for example I want something with 30% duty cycle, then I can say 255 multiplied with 30 by 100. Okay, in this case you just need to see what is the value you are going to get. 30 means I'll just calculate. Two 255 into 30. Okay, so approximately I'll be getting something around 76. For example I need duty cycle of 25%. In that case 255 into 25 by 100, so I'll get approximately 63, or maybe you can also consider 64. If I want 75, you will get 191 or maybe 192, you can consider. Okay, so like that, depending on how many bits we are using, I said like we are using 8 bits here, 8 bits to represent that particular digital number. So I have values from 0 to 255. So for example, if I have 10 bit, you need to consider 0 to 1023. Accordingly, these values will change. 127, 76, 64, all these things will change according to that particular value. Okay. So that's what we are showing here. If I have a PWM, if I need a PWM with a 0 duty cycle, I just need to pass value 0. If I need something with 25% duty cycle, I need to pass 64. If I need 50%, 127, 75, 191, 100%, 250. Like that, I can just keep on changing this. Okay. So let's try simulating this particular circuit, pulse width modulation of an LED. Okay. Again, here I don't want to get into the details of dragging a particular Arduino, dragging LED, resistor, all those things. We'll directly go to the circuit. I'll explain what are the connections I have given. This is Arduino board, for which as you know this is cathode of LED. I have connected through a resistor to ground. Okay, again you can see I am using 100 ohm resistor. Okay, and the other end that is anode of LED, I am connecting to third pin. Okay, so you need to understand here, whenever we are using PWM, okay, then I need to use either third pin, 5, 6, 9, 10, 11. Only these are the PWM output pins. If I am connecting this one for any pin like 4 or 7 or 8, and even if I write instruction like output the value 64, output the value 75, something like that, you are not going to get any variation. Okay, so that's the difference you need to understand. So only when I give to PWM digital pins, you are going to find that particular change. That you need to understand here. Okay, so I connected an LED. I want to measure that particular voltage changes using multimeter. So I have connected multimeter. But for us, it's better if I can have something like this. If I can see a waveform in this manner, we will be satisfied, right? uh, Clearly we will be able to understand like some PWM concept is happening. Okay, so let's start simulating before looking at code. Okay, you can see here like the pulse of this width is increasing then decreasing. Okay, it's increasing now, it's becoming maximum, then it's decreasing. And also you observe in multimeter the voltage is increasing, it's reaching some maximum value and then decreasing. Okay, even the LED also you can observe the intensity is increasing, then it's decreasing. Okay, so that's what we are doing. Okay, you can just respond in chat if you can observe these changes. Okay, I want you to answer whether you are able to see PWM, that pulse width changing, LED intensity and voltage changes. Okay, okay, that's clear. Okay, we'll get into code what I have written. There also I have not written any big uh, hundreds of lines or anything. Okay, it's very simple one. Okay, I hope you are able to see and read these things. If you want, I can also increase the size. Okay, I hope this will be fine. So as I told, in control we have a particular block where I can increase something. Okay, I can count something up or I can count down. Okay, with some condition like that I said, right? So what I am doing, count up. Okay, count up by 5. So for every iteration I am incrementing by 5. What I am incrementing, I am incrementing the value of LED brightness. Okay, count up by 5 for LED brightness, but I need to give from which point to which point I want to increase or decrease this particular. So I am saying you start from 0. Okay, for every iteration you keep on increasing the LED value 5. So initially it will be 0, then 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, like that it's keep on increasing till 255. That's the reason we are able to see the pulse width is changing in oscilloscope. After increasing that one, what I am doing, set pin 3, third pin, what I am doing, I am connecting to an LED. So for set pin 3 I am making LED brightness the same value I am passing here. So initially 0 will be passed, then 5, 10, 15, 20, like that the values will be passed to the third pin. Accordingly, the voltage across LED is increasing and accordingly my pulse width is also changing. Then we'll also try to see that one. In serial monitor, I am trying to print that one. You can see here 0, 15, 20, 25 and so on in the range of 5, it is incrementing these values. It's reaching to 55 and then decrementing. Okay, that is first step. First step, I am giving that value by incrementing with 5 and printing that one. In the second step, what I am doing, I am doing decrement, count down, count up, count down. Okay, increment, decrementing, both operations I am doing and giving the values to this particular LED. Okay, so you can just respond in chat if it is clear till now. The fading concept, this is called as fading. Okay, the intensity of LED is increasing and then decreasing. Okay, Okay, I hope it's clear with everyone. uh, Now we'll stop this one. And the other thing, like I said, like voltage regulation can be done by using this particular PWM thing. Next we will try rotating a motor, okay, and see how it works. A telecommunication part we cannot show in this one, like how we are doing modulation with respect to pulse width, etc. All those things we won't be able to see. But with respect to real-time hardware, how we are working, we'll see. So in this circuit, again, let me explain what I am doing. I want to control this particular DC motor using two different things. One is, as you can see, this particular motor, that is motor 2, I am making connection with pin 12, okay, and for the first motor I am making connection with third pin, okay. I want you to respond, like for which motor I can vary the speed. I have connected first motor to pin 3 and second motor I am connecting to pin 12. So you can just respond in chat for which motor I can control the speed. Okay, that's good. So for first motor, since I am connecting that one with PWM, I can vary the speed of that one. And for the second motor, I have only one concept, that is connect it one with 12. So either I can switch off that particular motor or switch on that particular motor. Now you can remember, whenever you have done your uh, projects with respect to this thing, like moving robotic platform or a robotic control, move forward, left, right, okay, these kind of things. During that point of time, how you have coded your particular circuit, I hope most of the time you might have used the second case, that is directly connecting with any one of the digital pin, because at that point of time we don't know how these things will work, whether digital pin PWM and digital pin normal, the difference you may not have any idea of those things. So maybe you randomly selected some particular pin and connected that particular pin to DC motor, and also you might have done like give that particular pin value as high or give that particular pin as low. But I hope you might not have worked by changing the speed of that particular motor. Okay, next time when you do hardware, you try doing like this, like increasing the speed and decreasing the speed of that particular motor. Okay. Sharadi, you try muting your microphone. Okay. You're able to hear me, sir? Okay. Okay. So as I told, either I can give 0 or 1, or even I can control the speed of that particular DC motor. First we will simulate the same thing. Okay, let's see how it works. Okay, you can see this particular motor 2 is working at high speed, 5555, but this one is at 0 RPM, motor 1. Now motor 1 has some intermediate value, 2500, 600 something, but motor 2 is off. Now motor 2 is working at high speed, okay, 5555. Now motor 1 is off and motor 2 started. Okay, so that's what happening. We will see how I have written code for that. If you like, maybe you can also guess, like I made this particular motor 1 3 different speeds, 0, then 25 something, 25 2500 or 600, and the other option is 5555. So what are the values which I have given for motor 1? You can just respond. 3 values I have given for motor 1. What are those 3 values? It's like I am giving completely low, half of the speed, then full speed. What about now? Are you able to see the changes? Like motor 1, it's operating at 0. Uh, Let me know if you are able to see the changes now. It's like I kept 10 seconds delay. So 10 seconds you need to check that one, the value. For every 10 seconds, what is happening, like that you need to see. Okay, as you can see, at present it is 255 or something, then 5555 after 10 seconds. After again 10 seconds, it is becoming 0. So I have three different values: no speed, half of the speed, complete speed. So what are the values which I am passing to that particular pin 3? When I give 0, like if I am getting 0 RPM, rotations per minute, it means like uh, I have 0 duty cycle. Okay, 0% duty cycle. In such case, I need to pass 0 value to that particular pin 3. If I am passing, if I am getting a speed somewhere around 2650 or 2700, that means I am running at half of the complete speed. That is, complete speed is 5555 rotations per minute. I am trying to reduce that one to half. That means half, the 50% duty cycle I need to consider. Okay, so I need to pass a value of 127. And if I am having high value 5555 rpm, it's running at a complete duty cycle, so I need to give 255 to that particular pin. Okay, whether that particular concept is clear. If I want full speed, I need to give 255. Half speed, I need to give the value of 127. And if I need zero speed, I need to pass zero value. It's not the value 02650 or 5555 which we will be sending, but we will be sending the value corresponding digital number 127. It will be in the range of 0 to 255 because we are considering that as 8-bit digital number. Okay, 0, 127, 125. Okay, like that we are going to give. So see here again, I'll increase the screen size. So you can see here, second motor I have connected at 12th pin. First motor I have connected at 3rd pin. Set pin 12 high. So initially whenever I started this particular program, second motor was running at high speed and first motor was running at 0 speed. That means it was not rotating. I waited for 10 seconds, after which I made second motor low. That means I made it off. Okay, but first motor I gave a value of 127. During that time you have observed like we had this motor running at 26 some value. Okay, now also it's running at half speed, you can see. Then I waited for 10 seconds. Then I am doing like this set 12th pin low. That means second pin still it is low, second motor. Then first motor I am making high with high speed, waiting for 10 seconds. Again this complete loop will be repeating. That's what I am doing here. Okay. So I hope there is no difficulty in this particular case. For example, let me consider this particular procedure for a robotic platform. I want to make that particular robotic platform move continuously forward. Okay. But if I see some disturbance, like if I see some obstacle at some distance, maybe 100 centimeters like that, I want my speed to be reduced. Okay. In that case, I can pass 127. Normally, I can say like go with 255 speed, but whenever you see obstacle at 100 centimeters, you try reducing your speed to 127. After that also still you feel like obstacle is approaching near you, you make that particular motor zero, then it will stop. Okay. Or some people like we have seen in hackathon or other places where you want to control the speed of your robotic platform. In that case, whatever the speed you want to go with, you can have that particular speed. Okay. So like that you can pass this particular value to control speed of your DC motor. Okay. The same thing, even servo motors, etc. The speeds basically you can control by using this particular PWM thing. Okay, that's what we wanted to say here. Okay. So I hope this concept of PWM and how we are making a particular motor change its speed is clear for everyone. Okay. Okay, in that case we'll go to the next concept. Okay, where we will introduce you to the concept of uh, PIR sensor. Okay, so I just gave a title like home automation. Okay, I gave a title like home automation, saying like if someone is entered into the room, try to switch on the light. If no one is there in the room, try to switch off light. Or maybe I can consider this application like if someone is coming in front of the door. Okay, then try opening a door. Instead of LED over here, I can have a door which opens when someone moves in front of that particular PIR sensor. Basically PIR stands for passive infrared. This actually can detect motion. For example, you just come and stand before that one, it won't detect, but if you are moving in front of that one, it will detect. Okay, so that's the difference between an ultrasonic and PIR. Even PIR cannot detect the distance like how ultrasonic can detect, but ultrasonic it can just detect distance, but it cannot say motion. By looking at distance value, you need to understand if the distance values are increasing or decreasing, then a particular object or person is moving. But in the case of PIR, if you have a motion in front of that one, maybe I can consider like this particular motion is available, and I need to do necessary action. Okay, so we'll try doing three applications with this one. Okay, I'll directly go with not this one first. Okay, I have this circuit, so I have added some extra thing. Okay, let's see what happens. I'll remove my microphone so that you will able to hear the speaker sound also. Meanwhile, when it makes some sound, you can respond if you are able to hear or not. Again, here also, if I want to check whether this particular someone is coming in front of PIR or not, you just click on this PIR. You'll get some area here. I'll change the position of this. I'll move this. Let let me stop once. I'll move this PIR position so that I can have enough area in front of that one. Now I am starting. Okay, see here, I am moving and LED is blinking, and also some tone is generated. Okay, I'll just I won't move, but I will be idle in that particular area. You can see like LED is off, and even that particular motor, the speaker, it's not giving any response. Again, when I am starting moving, it's giving response. I'll go out of this particular range. Again it got stopped. Okay, even just in front of that PIR also I cannot detect. Okay, it has some range. Only in that particular range this can detect this particular motion. Okay, so we have just seen moving of this particular thing. Okay, let me go back to the code and see what I have written. See here, I have written set PIR. Okay, uh, basically I have defined a particular variable PIR here. Okay, for example, if I look at any input or output module, okay, I don't have anything which says set PIR. Hardly I have things like set pin 0 1 2 3 and so on till 11. Okay, or maybe built-in LED to set that one I have. But how I am getting this particular block set pin, it is because of this particular variable. Okay, so for example, let's try deleting this complete thing. Okay, basically they have been created, so I cannot remove. I can remove like this by dragging and dropping. I cannot remove, but I can do like sorry, delete. Even I want to delete this one also. Okay, so as soon as I deleted, it has gone, right? PIR thing is gone. Okay, so I made like create a variable PIR. Okay, when I created, it is coming. Okay, this thing I am dragging here, set PIR to, okay, some value. And what is that value? This particular PIR, whether it is working as input or output, you just respond in chat. This PIR is input or output? Okay, input. And what about the values which it is giving, whether they are digital or analog? So someone says digital, someone says analog. Okay, let me clear. So what it is doing, this PIR, it's trying to check whether someone is moving or not. Okay, if I consider ultrasonic, you are considering what is the distance, but here PIR, it's not at all looking at distance. It just can say if someone is moving or not. So you are going to have only two options. If someone is moving, it gives some value. If no one is moving, it gives some value. So I can say PIR is a digital sensor. It's not analog sensor, but it is digital sensor. That is the reason. Okay, let me drag this and make clear the connections. So the first one is signal. That is the signal which is generated by PIR, that I am giving to fourth pin. And second pin is power. I am connecting to 5 volts. And the third pin is ground. I am connecting to ground. Those are the connections which I have made for this particular PIR. Okay, now set PIR, I have created a variable PIR. I want to assign some value to that particular PIR. Okay, how I can assign that PIR variable value I am reading at 4. So I need to get that particular value. Read digital pin. I have created a particular variable PIR, and that variable I am assigning with read digital pin, and where I have created that particular connection at fourth pin. So I'll connect that one to digital pin 4. Okay, now I'll have PIR value equals to whatever the value available at digital pin 4. Next, what I need is, if that particular PIR value equals to 1, I need to make this particular LED high. If that is low, I need to make that particular LED low. And you can see here I have written condition only one, like only for one variable or one circuit I have written, but I am making LED work and also this particular buzzer work. The reason is, for the same thing I made a parallel connection, so whatever the value at 8th pin is available, the same thing will be given to LED as well as this particular buzzer. Okay, that's the reason I have connected both to the same thing. And I want that particular PIR value to be printed in serial monitor. So I am dragging and dropping. So print to serial monitor. Here also I need to check that PIR value whether it is equals to 1, okay, or equals to 0. This is the code which we have written. Okay. Now again I'll try simulating so that it will be clear for you, like what are the values this thing is generating. Okay, it's generating some value. uh, Let me see where. Okay, let me drag this over here so that it stops first. So actually there will be some delay before which it can actually detect that particular thing as 0. Something happened. Okay, now it's not giving any buzzer. You can see value is 0. I'll try changing the position. We are getting 1. Okay, I'll go out. Okay, again the value 0 we are getting, and LED stop, buzzer stop. Again drag inside, move here, it's coming. Okay, so I think earlier maybe when I moved, that particular signal pin may have got connection with this 5 volts. That's the reason it was giving continuously 1, I think. Anyway, let's stop this, and maybe you quickly respond in chat, like where I can find this particular thing, uh, uh, application, this particular application where I can use. Like I'm detecting motion and trying to give alarm, right? So what kind of applications I can use? Okay, burglar alarm. Then maybe I can say like uh, it's like I'm keeping a protected zone. I don't want anybody to enter into that particular zone. Maybe in that case I can keep. Or maybe in some museums or places, gardens, etc. They'll say like do not touch, do not come in near places, etc. Right? So there also I can keep this one. If someone comes, automatically buzzer will come. Okay, safe lockers, that's okay. Even in military applications, if some intruder is coming, okay, PIR it will be very small, right? So I can keep and I can try getting alarm when someone enters that particular area. Okay, So that's all about this PIR and this thing. Okay. Next, I just want to go with another example quickly. Like if someone comes, I need to open my door. If nobody is there, it will be closed. Okay. Again, let me give details about how I gave connections. Same in the same way how I have done. I have connected LED. I have connected this particular PIR. Extra thing I am bringing is this servo motor. Okay, servo motor, it has three pins. This pin is ground. I am connecting to ground. This pin is power. I am connecting to 5 volts. This pin is signal pin. I am connecting this one to third pin. Okay, and you can see this servo also I am controlling with PWM digital output, not with direct digital output. Okay, so that's the difference you need to understand here. Same code whatever we had earlier. Okay, we had this particular code. uh, this is the code we had, right? Okay, PIR digital pin, make LED high, make LED low. In the same loop, in addition to making high this LED, I am trying to rotate servo motor. Whenever that condition is false, I am making that particular thing into zero position. Okay, that's what I have written, no other thing. Okay, you can see here, set PIR to reach digital pin. If PIR equals to 1, then set pin to high, rotate servo pin on where I have connected the servo motor on third pin. So I am taking third to 90 degrees. Once we execute, you will be able to see like on third pin you are having this change. Then wait 2 seconds, because if I keep on giving like that, there are chances like the person will be moving and it keeps on doing. Basically, servo meter will confuse what it has to do. Okay, so let's see what it does. Then wait 2 seconds. After that, if I find like the condition is false, I will come back to 0 degrees. Okay, I can write coming back to 0 degrees here, or maybe I can do like after waiting 2 seconds automatically close that one. Okay, like that also I can do. So let's see what happens. Start simulating. You can also observe serial monitor what's happening. Okay, at present serial monitor outputs are 0. Let me go to PIR. Okay, I have just moved and you can see the position of servo motor, it got changed. Okay, okay, I am keeping on moving here. Servo motor is in 90-degree position. I went outside. Okay, serial monitor value is 0 and servo motor went to 0 position. Again I am coming back. Okay, and there is a small delay. Like first the servo motor is rotating, then you are able to see one in this serial monitor, because I am waiting 2 seconds here before I can print that particular to serial monitor. If I do like take this particular thing, serial monitor thing, duplicate and keep it over here. Okay, similarly drag this and keep it before this, wait 2 seconds. Let's see, maybe I'll be able to see immediately these changes. Okay, immediately I got the change in serial monitor. I'm moving out. Okay, immediately I got 0 in serial monitor. Like that you can change. Okay, so this is also something like when you go to shopping malls, theaters, etc., you will find escalators, right? Okay, so how they automatically get started, how doors in front of shopping malls opens automatically. It's like they are going to detect the motion of a person, okay, within some range. Whenever it happens, they are trying to rotate this. Okay, I hope the concept of PIR and PWM is clear for you. Okay, okay, that's good. Now I'll stop at this point and I'll request Badri sir to join and explain the concept of relay. Okay, we have done home automation using LED. Okay, but in real time, when I say home automation, I cannot use LED, but I need to connect this or control a bulb which works with AC. Okay, so sir will take now and he will explain the concept of relay and he will show an example. Okay, Badri sir.
Hello everyone. Sir, am I audible to all?
Yes, yes. It's audible. You
Yeah,
can
okay.
start sharing.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, can I start now? Able to see the screen? Please respond in chat. Yeah, okay, fine. You learned since morning. You learned PWM and PIR, right? So when you come for real time working of all these sensors, like if you want to implement some LDR at your home, or if you want to implement the concept of PIR, so that you can get some advantages, like if you want to switch on your veranda light automatically in the evening, and if you want to switch off the veranda light in the morning automatically by itself, you need not want to switch it on and off. In that case, you should implement it with a device in your home, with a device known as a relay. Like you have a component known as relay. That relay will help you to switch high voltage devices. So that high voltage devices are at your home, like you have in your AC supply, right? You don't see, and even this relay is also used to switch DC devices also, like high voltage DC devices. So when you want to switch low power using low devices, if you want to switch high power devices, in that case we use a component known as relay. Achha, is it breaking? Yeah, wait for a second.
For me, it's fine only. Others, maybe you can just respond.
Now is it fine?
Yeah, it's fine. You can continue.
Yeah, okay. So as I was telling, relay is a component that is used to switch high power devices using low power devices. Yeah. Okay, fine. So in this case, you need to know how to interface this relay with your home appliances, as well as you need to know how to interface this relay with the controller, right? So in that case, you need to understand the first pin description. So for the pin description, see, this relay totally has 5 pins. The pins are named as NO, NC, and one inductor. The primary aim is we have to isolate, right? We have to isolate low power from high power. Like to switch veranda light using your Arduino controller. Arduino controller is at 5 volts. Your home supply is at 230 volts AC, right? So in order to isolate the 5 volts from the 230 volts, we use this device where internally we use an inductor to create some magnetic field. And due to that magnetic field, if you observe these pin names NO, common, NC. So NO is normally open, common is common, NC is normally closed. So if observing directly, you can understand common is connected to normally closed pin or normally connected pin. So normally connected and common both are always in connection. Fine. So the concept is whenever we energize this inductor is a device which is an electromagnet. If you remember your class, your 12th class or intermediate, you have learnt, right? If you have a screw and for that screw, if you rotate a coil and in that case, you get an electromagnet, right? This screw will become an electromagnet due to flux of this. So definitely magnetic field in. Okay. Right. You got a full screen, right? Uh, Now it's visible. Is the voice? Yeah. Okay. Okay. So if you observe here, we have an inductor. So if you provide some voltage supply to this inductor, you have one pin known as normally open, the other pin known as normally closed. The other pin is normally closed. Only breaking, huh? Hello? Is it breaking again? Okay, fine. So when you provide an voltage to this inductor, automatically this generates some magnetic field, and due to this magnetic field, the switch which is connected from common to NC will get connected to common to NO. That is the simple concept of a relay. That's it. So when you use a relay, that relay will help to switch the higher power devices or higher voltage devices using a low voltage device like your controller or an IC or comparator. So how it does? Internally, this has 5 pins where 2 pins are for inductor or an electromagnet. So due to this electromagnet principle, the common to normally closed will get connected to NO. So this will be continuously connected to common and NO until the magnetic field remains. If magnetic field is not there for this inductor coil, or if it is removed, if you remove the power supply, if you logic 0, automatically this will get this will get again connected to common and NC. That's it. Is the principle clear? First, you need to understand the principle. Then you can easily connect anything and you can directly work on the relay and you can directly use your to use IoT and home automation. All these things can be done using relay. So if you understand this, you can easily automate your home. Yeah. Shall we move to the point? Yeah. There are basically two types of relays. The first type of relay is SPDT, that is single pole double throw. So you have a single pole on and you have throws. Options are NO and N. So that is called SPDT, single pole double throw. When you come for DPDT, that is double pole double throw. DPDT is double pole double throw. SPST single pole single throw. DPST is double pole single throw. Most commonly we use these two types. So if you want to switch multiple loads using same sensor, like if you want to use same PIR to switch on some 10 street lights, or if you want to use some switch on 10 home lights at a time or 5 home lights at a time, we use DPDT so that we can reduce resources. Like if DPDT is there, you can switch on 2 loads at a time. And if SPDT is there, you can switch on 1 load at a time. So that is about the basics of relay. The next thing is just I wanted to show you an animation where you will understand directly how this behaves. And internally, if you want to see relay, relay will look like this. So on the above, you may not see latest relays all come with opaque plastic where you cannot see inside what's happening. But if you want to understand internally, see, are you able to see here? There are 3 pins, right? One is normally open contact, which is this one. The other one is normally closed contact. And the center one, this one is CO, common. So this common will help us to switch between these two. That's it. Simple concept, right? So this common will get a magnetic field from an inductor. So we have an inductor at the central part where the coil is energized with some 5 volts using your Arduino. After this gets energized, this is having some magnetic field. Due to that, something which is attached to NC and common will get attached to NO. That's it. So that is directly shown as an animation. Is this visible? Yeah. See, first we energize the inductor. Later on, magnetic field is generated. The common which is connected to NC will now disconnect from NC and get connected to NO. So the connections are like this. If you want to use an AC load, see, if you want to use an AC load, AC has phase and neutral, right? AC lo 2 pins untai. If you observe your socket, AC has 2 pins, right? One is phase, the other one is neutral. Generally, what connection or the electrician does is he uses phase with the switch, right? Likewise, we have to connect one phase with NC, NO, and the other pin which is there is connected to common. So this part is nothing but now common. This part is nothing but NO. So bulb is now connected to NO. You have a common in between, right? So we leave this NC pin. NO ki we will connect one connection of the bulb and we'll connect the other connection to the common. So neutral of the bulb is connected. The other pin that is coming from phase will be connected to common of relay. Then you have bulb's other pin, right? That bulb's other pin will be connected to NO. Finally, when magnetic field is generated, automatically this gets connected to NO and bulb gets switched on. As the bulb gets switched on, the relay is on and you can see the output, right? When the sensor is sensing something, you will see the output. So this output will exist till the time the inductor is having the magnetic field. The inductor's magnetic field is removed. Automatically, your loads get switch off. And again, it gets connected to NC. So that is the basic concept of the relay. Hope you understood this concept. So the relays which you are seeing here on the board are DPDT. The black color boxes which you are able to see here are DPDTs. These are DP-DTs. So DP-DT relay is double pole double throw, and the input from the transistor is there to amplify the current, because you may get voltage but you may not get the current amount. You require some minimum amount of 150 milliamps to energize the inductor. So that minimum 100 to 150 milliamps has to be amplified, right? So for that we have one transistor circuit. So this will be in common base configuration, like base emitter, where we use we ground the emitter, we give the input to the base, and we take the output from the collector. And if you observe, we have one diode here, right? So this diode is there to prevent the reverse power flow. You have the coil, right? You have the inductor. If you observe, I showed you the inductor. That inductor has to be protected from the reverse power flow. So internally the circuit is like this. You will have a diode like this. You will have a diode like this, where this is connected in parallel to the inductor to prevent the reverse power. That's it. So this is about the basic concept of the relay. Hope so. If you have understood, we'll go directly an example. So shall we go directly to the Tinkercad example? Yeah, if that's okay, please respond in chat. We'll directly go to the example and we'll understand. Yeah, okay, fine. So I made a circuit directly with the Tinkercad. So as sir has explained you, PIR sensor. So I thought to take the PIR example to show you how automation can be useful. By using PIR sensor, how you can switch on and switch off the bulbs wherever you want. Like you can have an example, like if you have a place where you want the lights to be switched on till you open the door, and after that you want your light to be switched off. In that case, you can use the PIR sensor. Like as you have, you are able to see. I think you are able to see the screen, right? You are getting the circuit. I used one 9 volts battery, one PIR sensor, and a bulb, right? So if you observe here, you need to carefully observe the connections, right? I'll try to zoom if possible. Okay, see, here you are having a relay. So on this relay, it is written like AC as DC. If you observe here, this is a relay. Whatever example I showed you in the slide is nothing but this relay. So in this relay, if you observe, 3 amps by 125 volts AC is there, 3 amps by 24 volts DC is there. So if you want to use this for DC, you have a limit of utilizing it for 3 amps load with 24 volts maximum voltage. And if you want to use it for AC appliances, you will have the rating as 3 ampere per 125 volts AC. And one more point I wanted to make you clear: whenever you use AC loads, please be careful with voltage levels and current levels. If you want to connect some relay with your bulb, let me assume the bulb works for your general 230 volts, right? So for that, you have to consider the relay of 230 volts AC with some 3 amps or 5 amps or 6 amps. So the load which you use for connecting should be balanced with the relay ratings. It should not exceed the relay ratings. Like you cannot use 230 volts or 230 volts 3 amps for a heater. If you want to switch on your geyser and all, it takes around 6 amps. So you cannot use that. If you want to use the relay for correct settings, you need to observe the ratings. So here it is written as 3 amps 125 volts, 3 amps, 24 volts, right? So 3 amps, 24 volts DC, 3 amps, 125 volts AC. And you need to know the pins to connect, right? So if you observe here, see, you have two pins here, terminal 1, terminal 12. Hope so you are able to see this, terminal 1 and terminal 12. This is the common pin. This is the common pin. You made one connection here, right? You made one connection in the slide. This one. So this common pin COM is the connection of this terminal 12 with battery. I am using here 9 volts battery to switch on your bulb, as we don't have direct AC here. So for this purpose, what I'll do is, if you want to replace it, you can directly replace 9 volts with your AC volts as phase and neutral. The red one you can consider as neutral, the black one you can consider as phase. And you have to connect one terminal to common terminal, the center one. And if you observe here, the center one is in between NO and NC, right? NO and NC is there. And you have terminal 5 and terminal 8. These two are inductor coils. Terminal 5 and terminal 8 are inductor coils. The coils which you saw in the slide. This one, the inductor coil. So this inductor coil is having two pins, right? 1 and 2, the above part and below part. So that above part and below part are terminal 5 and terminal 8. The next thing you need to know is NO pin and NC pin. See, in the diagram itself, if you observe the diagram itself, you are having NC here. Common is directly connected to NC. See, common is directly connected to NC, this part. But it is not connected to the above part, NO. So once you provide logic 1 to this terminal 5 and terminal 8, so terminal 8 is already grounded. I have already grounded this terminal. If you observe, I have already grounded this terminal. So you need to provide logic 1 to this terminal 5. Once this logic 1 is there applied for terminal 5, automatically this relays inductor gets energized and common and NO will get connected. These two will get connected. Once these two gets connected, your bulb will be switched on. Is that point clear? So I have connected relays inductive part or inductors 1 pin to 12, digital pin 12, the other pin to ground. So by default I grounded. So if you want to see the relay in real time, you will get a relay module. You need not worry about all these connections. In the relay module itself, he will give you NO, NC and common. You need to connect only the input pins. If you power the relay with the Arduino and if you provide the input pins directly, you can switch on the relay. If you have hardware class, maybe in the next semester, if you want a hardware class where we can show you directly in the hardware itself how you can switch on and switch off the relay. Like if PIR sensor is interface, if anyone comes beside and he is moving under PIR sensor's range, the light can be automatically switched on. So all these things are generally utilized using a relay. Whenever you come for a home automation, we use that using a relay. And I have connected PIR's input to digital input 4. If you observe this one, digital input 4 is now connected to PIR. So PIR's output is connected to digital input 4. One pin is power for PIR, the other pin is ground for PIR. So finally, you have 5 connections for relay, right? So if I want to check or if I want to take you through the execution of this circuit, if you see the output and the code, you will directly understand what happens. See, I'm using PIR here. So PIR, if it's in the range, if someone is not moving inside, it will be in switched off condition. If I move, automatically the lights get on, right? If I stop, it gets off. So when passive infrared sensor catches or absorbs your infrared output, human beings infrared output, and it converts the infrared signal into digital signal. Whenever you are getting digital signal input as 0, the bulb will be in off condition. Whenever you get the digital signal input as 1, the bulb will be in on condition. This will be the code, that's it. This will be the code. So if you observe here, I used here set out. I made a variable known as out here. So this out variable is a read digital pin as 4. So I have connected PIR pin to 4. So that 4th pin, this one, I have connected the PIR pin to 4. So this 4 is now equivalent to output of out variable. So out variable is now checking whether I am getting logic 1 or not. So if I am getting logic 1, that means I am setting the pin, digital pin 12 as logic 1. So digital pin 12 is now connected to relay, right? So this one, terminal 5. This terminal 5 will become logic 1 whenever the out variable, the output from PIR sensor become 1. So as this becomes 1, the whole bulb will be in on condition using the relay, and I will print. Basically, I'm printing the output. I'm printing the output. If you observe, I'm printing the output. See, the logic is 1 now. Once the logic is 0, automatically the bulb will be in switch off condition. So if you observe, I used logic low condition, right? You can utilize this for applications like if you want the switch to be, as I told you, if you want the switch to be in on condition for some 5 seconds or 10 seconds till you open the door. You can open the door, right? You can open the door in 5 to 10 seconds, and you need not require light in certain applications after that. In that case, you can utilize this PIR by using this wait condition. Like you can change the wait condition to the down position. So this wait condition can be there after setting the pin. So once you place the wait condition after the pin, automatically the pin remains in on condition for some 5-10 seconds. Like I can change it to 5 seconds. So once it becomes 1, if I change it to 5 seconds, as soon as it is in high condition, I'll open the door. After that, automatically it gets switched off. As we move on and go, right? As we move on and go, this goes into switch off condition. Like this, see. In this case, this will be in on for 5 seconds. For 5 seconds, automatically it gets switched off. That's it. So by using these type of applications, you can build your home automation. Even if you want to make it like IoT, the same connections will be existing, but you have to add an IoT controller to it. So when you add an IoT controller to this Arduino, you can directly switch it off from phone, or you can make different connections, or you can make different applications. Like if you are in certain location, using the phone's GPS, if you are in certain location, you can switch on the light, and after you reach home, automatically the light will be in on condition. Like if you want to switch on geyser, whenever you are near some area, like if you are near your home, around 5 kilometers away from your home, you can set the GPS in such a way that from the phone, once you enter that area, the whole thing, like the whole setup will switch on your geyser, or the coffee filter may be switched on. So all these, there are n number of applications. Once you learn how to interface it with your home appliances, you can utilize it for n number of applications with n number of sensors. So the same connection exists. Like if you want to change it, like if I want to tell you, if you want to switch on an AC, yeah, AC can be switched on. Yeah, even for AC, you need to consider the relay as for higher ratings. Like if you want to switch on an AC, it may consider some 16 amps fuse. So 16 amps relay with some 230 volts AC or some 415 volts AC. So according to the ratings of the load, you can change the relay. Even you can switch on AC, even you can switch on, like someone has typed Mahi. So to switch on AC, yeah, you can switch on the AC. Like you can like if you want to enter into your home, and you can switch on the AC before you enter into your home, 5 minutes or 10 minutes before. So all these applications have a common platform. Like if you want to switch it on for your home, definitely you have to use either relay, or you have one more device. That one more component is tip. Like you have triac. Triac can also be used to switch on the AC appliances. The advantage of triac is, by using triac, you can vary the brightness also. Like if you want to switch on a fan and you want to keep that fan in 5 speed, 2 speed, 3 speed, so you can use PWM output, and you can connect it to that tip transistor. For Tinkercad also we have one tip component is there. If you observe, it has 3 pins. Those 3 pins can be utilized to even connect AC supplies. But the thing is, it does not have any isolation. So you have to use separate circuit for isolation there. We use there some optocouplers, and by using an optocoupler, you can connect the output to a tip transistor. Tip transistor, in the sense it is having some triac. So a triac ni use cheste, you can switch on and switch off the loads, and you can vary the brightness also. That is the advantage of triac. So if you want, you can even get those connections. Like if you want to work on that, using Tinkercad also, you have different MOSFETs or triacs. So you can work on different MOSFETs and triacs, and you can get the outputs. Like if I want to say an example, you have a regulator at home, right? When you use a regulator, in previous days, the regulator had some resistance type thing. Like if you want to change the regulator, you would change it in steps like this, right? But for now, if you want to observe a regulator, it is very small in size. It is having one MOSFET inside, and it will rotate smoothly, so that when you change the MOSFET's gate input, automatically the speed of the output changes. So internally akkada kuda PWM vaadedi. There also you change the PWM level. If you change the duty cycle, automatically the speed of the fan changes. Fine. So this is like home automation. If you want to work much, if you want to work further in this, and if you want to go ahead, you have different n number of applications in this, and you can go and search all other things. Like you can explore many things. Like as I said, it has some triac also, so you can use a triac rather than a relay to switch on this device. And you can find out how it changes in the brightness, like how it changes different things when you change the PWM and all. You can observe neatly. Fine. So this is about home automation. And just I wanted to show you the code block with the text, where I changed this variable. See, out and a variable create cheste, you have out as one variable, right? So what I am doing is, I am making this variable get the value of digital input. So for that purpose, I made out equals to digital read 4. So in this, out is directly declared as int out equals to 0 once you create a variable. And the thing is, after that, out is equals to digital read 4 is there. So I am checking the condition. If out is equals to 1, delay of 1000, digital write, pin 12 as high. And after that, keep it in high condition for 5 seconds. Later, make it switch off. So for that, if condition is being used, so after that, it switches off automatically, right? Likewise, you can change the code also. Like you create some basic circuit in this, and later on you want to change some things. After copy pasting it in your real-time hardware sketch, you can change it. You can change, and you can make the code as per your application. And work for one level, but the real time is different. So when you go for real time, there are other difficulties which you need to check. But using Tinkercad, the simulation as well as other things will also be easier to work on. like you don't know the connections of relay, right? If you want to connect it, once you create the simulation, from the simulation, you can check all the connections and you can connect it in your hardware, right? So that is much more advantageous compared to other things. So this is for home automation from us. And I think the session is last for today. So hope so all got useful information and useful knowledge. This is not enough actually. You have to start working on this. I think you have time. This is the ideal time to utilize. And even though you don't have all the hardware things and all, you can at least 70% you can work in Tinkercad itself to get lot of applications. So you can work on this and you can get different scenarios and you can work on different platforms. You can get different projects here itself. And even for many projects also, if the thing is extended, like if you want to get some hobby robots, or if you want to build some maze robots and all, you can build it here by using some simulation software like Tinkercad, and you can even present it as a mini project. Later on, you can extend it for hardware and all. And from there you can check and you can test. So what we thought is, I and sir observed a lot of things in your hackathons and all. You were feeling difficult to connect, like you were in unknown condition whether to connect this pin, common pin to what pin, or whether you have to connect the to digital pin or analog pin. So you were confused, right? So I think after this session, you got some knowledge, like when to connect it to digital, when to connect it to analog, how to use the PWM pins and all. So I feel that this is the basic one, the mere basic one. If you want advanced and all, that can be planned in the later session. And for now, I think we'll stop here. I'll hand over the microphone to Sir Vikas sir. So Vikas sir, please continue with the session. And you were asking some other people to talk, right, sir?
Yeah, we'll close the session after some feedback. First, let me request Dr. Rekha ma'am. She was our faculty when I did MTech from Amrita University. Rekha ma'am, can you speak some few words about this particular session? Some suggestions? Hello? Hello?
You can unmute yourself.
Okay. Before ma'am responds, maybe someone from MTech, if you would like to speak.
You can unmute yourself directly.
Hello, sir. Good morning, sir. I'm Achla. I'm doing MTech in WMC. It's really a good from here because we are having a hands-on experience. Without hardware, we are able to do it everything very well on software. And sorry, sir. Okay. Mm, so we can explore more and in our area of interest because we are getting all kinds of components on only one platform, so it's pretty cool. We can do it very well. And I would like to thank our principal sir, HOD sir, Vikas sir, and Badri sir for giving us this wonderful opportunity to learn even in this time. So thank you so much.
Anyone else from MTech?
Yeah, thank you, Achala. Our intention for you people is we want to share our knowledge. That's it. So whatever we learned, we wanted to give you, but it's your responsibility to take it further. You should work more. You should get some other things to be done. You should get some advanced things to be done.
Rekanan, you are speaking.
Hello.
Yes, madam. You are audible, madam. You can speak.
Hello, everybody. And thank you so much for attending for organizing such a session. And I'm so happy, proud, and privileged that Vikas is my student. And actually, I was looking forward for such a session because I'm handling these courses. And right now, at this COVID time lockdown period, I was not able to access the devices and teach my students using the devices. Normally, I organize my classes very practically oriented, so I was finding so difficult. So you guys opened up the right tool for me, people like us, teachers also basically. And I would like to request all the participants to take forward this, and because now in the post lockdown period the education sector is also changing, so you definitely need hands on experience on such platforms, because like we may not be always accessible as we do before to our labs and other things. So thank you so much, Vikas and Bedri, for organizing such a session once again, and you guys did a really wonderful job.
Thank you, madam.
Still,
Yeah. Is there anyone
you would like to speak?
or even BTech? Is Shruti there? CR, I think. She was the one who was asking me about the hardware workshop since long time. I think. Is she attending the workshop? I think I could see Sri Preeti.
Okay, anyone from third year?
Hello everyone, this is Swati. First of all, I'd like to thank both Vikas sir and Badri sir for taking up this initiative. I think Tinkercad is a very useful platform to continue our work on our mini projects for third years without having the physical hardware components in the situation of lockdown. And a very clear explanation, all the topics were very well understood. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Swati. Yeah. Is there from anyone from second year? Because you people, I think, are very less experienced with the microprocessor and microcontroller and all.
Oh, present second year they have microprocessor.
So they have the subject, I think, sir.
Yeah, only with the third year.
Okay.
Yeah, if still anyone wants to speak, we'll wait, else we'll close.
Good afternoon, sir. I'm Kritika from third year. I thank Vikas sir and Badri sir for conducting this workshop, because this gave us the basic insights of how to use an online simulator. So we can work on our projects from now onwards using this. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Kritika.
Okay. You have any doubts or anything like suggestions? If you can't talk, maybe you can just respond in chat also. Like these are the things which we would expect in future, or maybe we thought it would have been better if these things are included, etc.
And even we have in the next semester we have direct plan, I think, Vikas sir. We have direct plan of conducting hardware workshop for
Yeah.
them.
Sir, I suggest that instead of basic is okay, sir, but we want somewhat advancements, sir, in this.
Okay.
Yeah, we can include IoT.
You are from MTech, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Basically, for you, they may be basic things, but basically, what we felt is for second and third year, we wanted them to introduce with Arduino, etc. Okay, that's the reason we thought of starting from very basic.
Okay, sir. And thank you, sir, for giving this opportunity to utilize it.
Yeah, thank you.
So we can do our mini projects very easily, sir. Now.
Yeah, maybe this will help you. Like you may not be work with GSM, GPS, Wi-Fi modules, but the remaining part we can actually carry out with this one.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. With this, thank you very much, sir. Thank you, Badri, sir.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, for you people, one information is you will be receiving feedback forms as well as the quiz by today. After this session, Vikas sir will forward it in the group. So once you get a link, you please all try to fill that feedback as well as the quiz so that you may get the direct certificate. And make sure that all people submit this quiz as well as feedback. Yeah, okay.
Okay, it's like whatever the feedback or quiz we say, don't feel like their burden, because we would like to know from each and every person like how it was and what improvements can be done. Okay, so we need these things. Okay, so try submitting as early as possible. And about certificates, we will try giving the certificates once college reopens, because right now it's not possible to generate the certificates, etc. Right? Once college reopens, we'll try to give those. Okay. Okay. I hope everything is clear, and we'll try closing.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you all for participating. Hope for the best. Yeah.